Arnhem Land, at the very top of the Northern Territory, is one of the last vestiges of true wilderness left in the Australian outback. And it is a heck of a journey to get here. But once you get here, everything is at your fingertips. You can see this awesome country from land, from the air, and from the sea. Beautiful fishing in Melville Bay or in any of the creeks around here. There are numerous four-wheel drive tracks that spiderweb out from Nhulunbuy in almost every direction to beautiful, untouched beaches. You really can find your own place up here. At the end of the day, Gove Peninsula is the perfect place to base yourself to explore some of the best of Arnhem Land.
The Central Arnhem Road is the only road into the Gove Peninsula, which sits at the northwestern extremity of the Northern Territory, and it's a heck of a track. All dirt, and often heavily corrugated, it stretches over 700 kilometers from Katherine to Nhulunbuy. That's a solid 10-hour run if you're making good time. There aren't many better tests for the D-Max and the MUX than tracks like this. Here, it isn't about technical driving, it's an endurance run. A few hundred kilometers of corrugations can find the weak point in any vehicle pretty quickly.
The roads in Arnhem Land are notoriously brutal. They are rough on cars from top to bottom, with corrugations, sharp rocks, and washouts everywhere. Doesn't matter how careful you are, bad things still happen out here. Like this little gash right in the shoulder of this tire here, and this one was just about to sit on the rim here. So just gonna do a quick repair on this, see all that holds up. And that's what this repair kit's for. Basically, can get you out of a jam and save you the cost of a tire. The first thing we're gonna do to repair this is ream the hole out. I know it seems a little counterintuitive to make the hole bigger, but we need to do that to make sure that it'll take a plug properly. So we've got the reamer tool here, a bit of lubricant, and we're just gonna find the hole and basically make sure that that's got plenty of room for a plug. The next step is to get this little plug tool. We get these little plugs here. They're made of vulcanized rubber, same as the tires. Thread the needle, some pliers in here that makes that a lot easier. And from here, with a little bit of luck and some elbow grease, we're just gonna put that plug into the hole. It's a little tricky. The trick is not to push the plug too deep. We've got one plug in there, but this hole looks like it's gonna take more than one, so we'll give it a couple more and they will fill that hole, and then once we fill it up with air, there's enough pressure in there to hold everything together. All right, this seems to be holding air right now. There's a couple of ways to check that. You can get a bit of soapy water, heaps of soap, pour it over there. Any air coming through will create bubbles that you can see really quickly. You can do the same thing with a bit of spit. I'm just gonna trim these guys off now and give this guy a road test.
I just can't shake the feeling, driving through this country broken up by lone piles of stone, like ziggurats from some lost civilization, that time seems to run deeper here, further back into the past than it's possible to intuitively comprehend. Time is the true custodian of this landscape. The hands move so slowly out here, imperceptibly, geologically slow, and yet as inexorable and dependable as the rains that come to destroy and renew every year. Life and death are like air and water here, constantly dancing against each other, a thin filament of emergence between them, breaking and refracting like sunlight on a calm ocean. It is on this thread of circumstance that we travel, and all around us, in every direction up here, it is swiftly apparent just how fragile the silk really is.
The Gove Peninsula is a spectacular place to come touring. There's pretty awesome stuff to look at on the ground here, but I wanted to see this place from another angle, from the air, and the guys from Black Diamond Aviation offered to help us out, show us around the place. Matthew, you guys obviously can take people out to Groote Island and probably as far as Darwin, but you also do flights around the area so people can see this place from a different angle.
Yeah, it's one of the best ways to see Arnhem Lands from the air because it's so remote and there's not always roads to get around. So from Groote Island up to the Wessels and right across to Darwin, some of our most popular flights are out over the floodplains where you can see bird life and a lot of the wildlife like crocodiles and buffalo and all that sort of thing, and the best time to see it's early in the morning, which is what we're about to do.
One thing I discovered in Arnhem Land is that the place is still wrapping its head around tourism. Nobody was advertising joy flights out of Nhulunbuy, but when I asked around, it was easy to organise something with the guys at Black Diamond. As a photographer, I love shooting from the air. It turns the world into an abstract painting almost instantly. The land is flattened out into a cubist work, all colour and shapes. Nothing for our horizon-trained hunter eyes to focus on. A hyper-real map. When people say Arnhem Land, this is the country everyone is imagining. Dry gum scrub giving way to lush mangrove forest. Lone tracks meandering through country that barely ever feels human feet. Here though, imagination falters and cannot keep up with the colours, or the excitement heading out into the unknown.